Thank you,
Member
Mr.
Dartmouth
Speaker,
North has the floor.
and I do acknowledge your difficult decision of wondering who should be speaking on this bill. Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to tell you that I'm very pleased that the honourable member and minister representing Yarmouth in that district has brought this bill forward. I remember many years ago as I stood in this legislature and had talked about when we in fact brought the hotel and motel levying fees in the Halifax metropolitan area. And at that particular time I stood up here, Mr. Speaker, and I spoke in support of that resolution because of my many years of serving on the Dartmouth Visitors and Convention Bureau, recognized the importance of tourism promotion in the province of Nova Scotia. And I want to say to the Honourable Minister, it is one of the ways in which we can promote certain parts of our province. And there are unique parts of our province, and there is unique promotions to parts of our province with respect to how we deliver tourism throughout the entire province. And I want to say, Mr. Speaker, that this bill comes at the graces of many of the proprietors of businesses whom in fact will be levying the fee, and it comes from the tourism industry itself. I believe that the Honourable Minister has stated that that there is a letter from the tourism entity down there as well. So if this is the case, I think that they have recognized a special need for tourism promotion in the Yarmouth area. Tourism, as some of us have talked about here earlier, and I've listened to some of the members' comments with respect to the decrease in revenues from tourism, but we also know in this province that we still get a real bang for our buck when we invest in tourism. We recognize that for every dollar invested in tourism, I still think the ratio is, and can be considered appropriate, a 7-to-1 in return. So for every dollar we invest in tourism in this province of Nova Scotia, we can be assured that there will be a $7 return in it. And for the community of Yarmouth and the surrounding area that is bounded by this commitment here to promote tourism through its marketing agencies, I want to say to them, Mr. Speaker, I want to say to them good luck. I want to say to the minister who introduced this bill, good luck, because it's only through tourism do we recognize the potential that Nova Scotia has and the beauty that it holds for everyone to see. Thank you.
The honourable member for Annapolis.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too want to congratulate the minister for bringing this bill forward. And I also want to thank him for reinforcing my questions that I just asked of the Minister in Tourism. In fact, that they are cutting close to $1 million of the marketing budget. This reinforces what I was just saying to the business around this province. Now we're having to tax somebody coming in to add a tax to visitors into this province. If the Department of Tourism had left the money into the department that was there, the ability to market this province would be where it belongs, and that's with the Department of Tourism, not with local businesses scattered all over this province. So that we have marketing in one direction, we have different levels all over this province. It should be consistent from one end of Nova Scotia to the other, and is the responsibility of the Department of Tourism and the Minister to deal with that. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
The honourable member for Cape Breton West.
Well, thank you, Mr. Speaker. We certainly have no problem supporting this bill going on to private and locals. But I do want to make a correction with regards to the comments from the member for Dartmouth North. You know, he spoke with such enthusiasm in support of this bill and for putting the hotel marketing fee on a previous day. But it was my colleague, the member for Cape Breton and the Lakes, who introduced the amendment to ensure that those individuals that had to travel from long distances, from Yarmouth, from Digby, from Cumberland County, from Cape Breton, and so forth, that were bringing loved ones to Halifax for medical reasons and for health reasons through no fault of their own, and to offer protection that they're not paying for an initiative that really should have been addressed through a departmental issue on promotions within the Department of Tourism. So although he's quite enthusiastic about his position on that, and certainly outside of this particular issue, I would agree but a little bit short-sighted, to say the least, and misleading even more so, to suggest that this particular issue was not addressed. It's specifically in reference to the particular piece of legislation, yes. If that's the wish and the will of the local residents, much the same as the controversial issue with regards to the authorizing the local municipality to be able to start taxing the property taxpayers in Shelburne to secure a doctor, start paying Department of Health fees. It's clearly what we have here is a rather fragmented approach on a taxing policy in the Nova Scotia government that we are now downloading through a series of user fees to all these local agencies and businesses and community organizations and what have you, because the department doesn't want to put the money into tourism promotion, as my colleague from Annapolis has rightfully suggested. And I think that's very unfortunate. But the member who introduced this particular piece of legislation is a member of the Crown, is a member of the Executive Committee, who sits at the table, has the pleasure of sitting at the Cabinet table when budget deliberations are forthcoming and the various departmental officials come in and itemize their priorities. Certainly, I would hope that the Honourable Minister of Natural Resources would take the opportunity to press the case to the Department of Tourism officials as to why he has been compelled to go back to the good residents that he represents and the businesses and all people, taxpayers in his community, as to why they and those that are visiting those local destinations have to now start paying a user fee because the Minister of Tourism and Culture is unable to secure the proper funding at the Cabinet table. Now, obviously, if it comes to priorities, obviously tourism promotion, which has been billed a major initiative here in this province, doesn't seem to be getting quite the attention at the Cabinet table that one would think. When another minister of the Crown has to come before this House in the form of a private and locals bill to try and achieve the initiatives that rightfully should be within the department of his seatmate at the Cabinet table. So it's a measure of what's happening inside the Executive Council. It's a measure of what's happening in terms of taxing policy. It's a measure of what's happening on tourism promotion. And it's a measure of what's happening in terms of who's accepting the responsibility. We're now shifting everything to a user pay system so as the government to shield itself from the taxing initiatives that were generally all considered to be provincial in nature. So it'd be interesting to see again, and I'll make this final plea, Mr. Speaker, that the government would certainly come forth with a clearly defined definition of user fees in this province, because we have at least 3 ministers of the Crown and the Premier with 4 different definitions. And I think that's very unfortunate. And sooner or later, this province is going to find itself in a very difficult situation in a legal questionable matter. And with that, Mr. Speaker, I'll conclude my remarks.
Order, please. On the point of order?
Yes, Mr.
Gentleman
Speaker,
Dartmouth
on
North
the point of order. And I just want to make sure on this point of order there is clarification, Mr. Speaker, and that the honourable member from Cape Breton West inferred or implied that I, as a member of Dartmouth North, for some apparent reason did not support an amendment to the legislation that came forward with respect to charging hotel fees, particularly for those Nova Scotians who needed to come here for emergency purposes and use hotels. I want to tell the honourable member there is nothing in the Hansard records that will imply that I have done any such thing, and that in fact, if that motion, that amendment was brought forward, the chances are is that I spoke in favor of that amendment, or I was not, and I may not have been present, so I can't tell you for certain, Mr. Speaker, of the intent. But nonetheless, I still would have supported the resolution for the fee, and I will support this one.
Order, please. Order, please. It's not a point of order, but certainly the members clarified the facts and his stand on the issue for the House. The honourable member for Cape Breton West on a point of order.
Point of order for all members to draw to the attention of Hansard and for the library public record. This is the same member who chastised the Liberal caucus and the sponsor of the amendment very severely for introducing the amendment at a late date and interfering with his scheduled line of thought.
Order, please. Thank you. Not a point of order. Disagreeing with the facts between the members. The honourable, if I recognize the honourable Minister of Natural Resources, be to close debate on Bill 134.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker, and I thank the member from Dartmouth North and the member from Annapolis, and I thank the member from Cape Breton West. I must say, Mr. Speaker, that Yarmouthians, when they come to government, they always come and they always put up their contribution first. They never come with the cap in hand and begging. They always come and they want to do what's right for their community. And this is what's right for the community. And I must say, Mr. Speaker, since this party's been in government, the Minister of Tourism and Culture has put a tourism officer in our community that they have cried for over 9 years. But it took the Tory government to put it in our community, Mr. Speaker. And I thank that minister for putting that officer in our community. And, Mr. Speaker, I'd like to close debate on this bill. Second reading.
Motion is for second reading of Bill number 134. Is the House ready for the question? All those in favour say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried.
Bill 134, entitled an act to authorize a marketing and promotions levy in the town of Yarmouth and the municipality of the district of Yarmouth.
Or this bill be referred to the Committee on Public and Local Bills. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Okay, Bill. Mr. Speaker, would you please call private members' public bills for second reading?
Private members' public bills for second reading.
Would you please call Bill 138?
Bill number 138. The Honourable Member for Colchester North.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, it's a pleasure to rise today for a few moments to speak on this bill 138, an act to amend Chapter 475 of the Revised Statutes 1989, the Trade Union Act. And Mr. Speaker, what this bill does, this bill gives the police officers in Nova Scotia what they have been requesting for years, and that is to give up the right to strike and not to be locked out by their employer. And Mr. Speaker, the citizens of Nova Scotia, if this bill is passed, I should say when it's passed, they can rest knowing that they are being provided police service by the municipalities of Nova Scotia 24 hours a day, 365 days a week. And I'd like to point out, Mr. Speaker, there has been numerous strikes in Nova Scotia with police forces all across Nova Scotia. And I'd like to ask this question: who gains by a strike, a police strike? Nobody gains, but there's a lot of losers. And Mr. Speaker, it's the citizens of Nova Scotia who are the losers. And Mr. Speaker, I'm not going to talk very long on this bill today, as I'm required in the Red Room and law amendments on another very important bill, which are waiting for me now. And with this, I shall take my place and look for comments from the opposition. Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. What's that?
Member Colchester North.
Yeah, Mr. Speaker, at this time I'd like to move second reading of Bill number 138.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Cape Breton Centre.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I won't speak long on this very important bill. It's an interesting bill that the member brought forward. I will be supporting this bill going on to law amendments, and I would have liked to have seen a member of the Executive Council move it, but that's not to be, and the members be congratulated for doing that. So with those few words said, Mr. Speaker, our party will be supporting this bill going on to the next level.
Thank you. The Honourable Member for Cape Breton South.
Yes, thank you very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to rise in support of this bill as well, and our party will be supporting this bill. I congratulate the member for Colchester North for bringing this bill to the House. It's certainly a bill that highlights, I think, one word: democracy here. The police union in the CBRM have wanted this for some time now. They voted for it. They are anxious to get this through the House, and I think this is something that will give relief to a lot of anxious people working in the justice system, particularly at the municipal policing level, that they can do their job for the protection of the people in the future without having to worry about work disruption. It's something that they've been trying to get for some time. I believe it's the right thing to do, and again, on closing, I want to congratulate the member for bringing this bill to the House today and tell you that the Liberal caucus will be supporting this bill. Thank you.
The Member Cape Breton West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Certainly not to repeat, but only to echo many of the sentiments that have been put forth. I'm pleased to see the sponsor of the bill come forth, compliment an initiative that we put forth several weeks ago. It's quite evident that we have a collaborative and cooperative effort on this particular piece of legislation. Yourself, Mr. Speaker, with a policing background, you understand the importance of this particular piece of legislation. And as the sponsor of the bill, who in his previous life had a rather extensive background with the OPP, and I know the policing service with the Cape Breton Regional Municipality is quite anxious to see the fruition of this particular piece of legislation. In previous days, previous years, we've seen some rather unpleasant situations in the former several of the municipalities prior to CBRM when policing strikes took place, and it was not a pleasant situation for anyone. And as has been noted, there are no winners in this particular situation. I want to pay or make special note to the collaborative effort of Mr. Ross, the Executive Director for PANS, and for all those that perhaps we haven't even mentioned and we failed to mention, because it's easy for ourselves as legislators to either support or not support a particular initiative with our limited knowledge on it. But when you're an actual stakeholder in the front line, so to speak, it's very important. I also want to draw to the attention, Mr. Speaker, a point that I believe we may have been a little remiss on. It's on another piece of legislation, but somehow relates to this particular piece of legislation, and that's the Policing Act that we gave approbation for second reading to send on to law amendments. As we know, in that, in the draft legislation, there was a section 35, subsection 4, which alleviated the minister's obligation to sign off for any municipal unit to be able to reduce policing services when that municipality saw fit. This is an issue of considerable concern, and I think it's something that the Minister of Justice, and certainly I know the government House Leader is listening very intently, but it's an issue of significant concern, particularly with those municipalities who are faced with budgetary crunches. And it does relate indirectly to this particular piece of legislation, and my concern is that what we would achieve in this particular piece of legislation, we may lose by virtue of the other piece of legislation through the Policing Act. So it's something I would like to serve notice with the Minister of Justice and the sponsor of this particular piece of legislation, and indeed the government House Leader. So with that, Mr. Speaker, we'll, as has been noted, we'll certainly be supporting this to go on, and I congratulate the member for Colchester North in bringing this legislation forward.
Recognize the honourable member for Eastern Shore. Be closed debate on Bill number 138. The honourable member for Eastern Shore.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. On the behalf of the member from Colchester North, I do close debate and second reading on Bill number 138.
Motion is for second reading of Bill number 138. Is the House ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried.
Bill 138, entitled An Act to Amend Chapter 475, the Revised Statutes 1989, the Trade Union Act.
Order this bill be referred to the Committee on Law Amendments. The Honourable Government House Leader.
Mr. Speaker, I move that you do now leave the chair and the House resolve in the Committee of the whole House on bills.
Agreed? Motion is carried.
No amendments on this, is there? Amendment on it? It's amendment, yeah. I'll just say so the clauses as amended, carry. Yes, thank you. Call the committee. Oh, yes, yes. Call the committee to order and recognize the Government House Leader.
Yes, Mr. Chairman, would you please call Bill number 111, I've got to find the title of the bill, French Language Services Act.
Thank you, Bill 111. Okay. I would like to inform committee members that there has been a reprint of the bill, and I just want to make sure that you understand that. So at this time, shall the clauses carry? Shall the title carry? Shall the bill carry? Good, thank you. I'd like to recognize the Government House Leader at this time.
Things are moving right along. Mr. Chairman, I move the committee to now rise and report this bill.
Committee report the bill. All in favor? Thank you.
Chairman of the Committee on House of Bills reports.
The committee has met and considered one bill, namely Bill number 111, and the chairman's been instructed to recommend it to the favorable consideration of the House without amendment.
Order this bill be read a third time at a future date. The Honourable Deputy Premier.
Yes, Mr. Speaker. I move that we move into public bills for third reading, and we'll be commencing at the bill number 95 and going through the order paper.
Public bills for third reading?
Public bills for third reading. So would you please call Bill 95, the Land Registration Act?
Bill number 95, the Land Registration Act. The Honourable Minister of Service, Nova Scotia and Municipal Relations.
I move third reading of Bill number 95.
Motion is for third reading of Bill number 95. Is the House ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried.
Bill 95, entitled An Act to Amend Chapter 6 of the Acts of 2001, the Land Registration Act.
Order the title do pass. Order the title be as read by the clerk. Order the bill be engrossed. The Honourable Deputy Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, for third reading, a bill called Bill number 96, House of Assembly Act.
Bill number 96. The Honourable Member Cape Breton West.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I so move.
Motion is for third reading of Bill number 96. House ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried.
Bill 96, entitled An Act to Amend Chapter 1, 1992 Supplement of the Revised Statutes 1989, the House of Assembly Act.
Order the bill do pass. Order the title be as read by the clerk. Order the bill be engrossed. The Honourable Deputy Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Call Bill number 99, Vital Statistics.
Bill number 99, the Honourable Minister of Service, Nova Scotia and Municipal Relations.
I move third reading for Bill number 99.
House ready with question? All those in favor say aye. Contrary-minded, nay. Motion is carried.
99, entitled An Act to Amend Chapter 494 of the Revised Statutes 1989, the Vital Statistics Act.
Order the bill do pass. Order the title be as read by the clerk. Order the bill be engrossed. The Honourable Deputy Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bill number 101, Public Service Act.
Bill number 101, the Honourable Minister of Service, Nova Scotia Municipal Relations.
Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased to move Bill number 101, the Public Service Act, for third reading.
The Honourable Member for Halifax Needham.
Thank you, very much, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I just want to take a moment of time here on the floor to speak to the amendments that were made to this, this legislation at the law amendments process. And I want to thank the Minister for his cooperation in this. Mr. Speaker, this bill establishes the Office of African Nova Scotian Affairs, which I know all members of this House are fully in support of. Although there weren't a lot of interventions in front of the Law Amendments Committee, in reflecting on the bill, it was the view of members of the NDP caucus that perhaps we could add into the bill an amendment that would enhance the role of the Office of African Nova Scotian Affairs, so that there would be a bit of an advocacy function. That has been added in an amendment to the bill. As well, there will be a regular reporting mechanism so that on an annual basis, the office will table an annual report that will allow an evaluation and accountability in terms of the progress that the office is making in terms of implementing the plans of that office to enhance and the life experience of members of the African Nova Scotian community. So I'm very pleased to see this bill be brought forward, pleased to see that the process here works in terms of improving legislation that we have. We've added a bit more accountability and transparency and a bit more oomph, I think, in some ways to this office. And I look forward to supporting this bill as it passes into law, Mr. Speaker.
Thank you. I recognize the honourable member for Preston.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I too am in support of this bill. I think it's long overdue in Nova Scotia, and as representing the largest black community in all of Canada, it's a pleasure to see this bill go forward. I have some concerns with the bill. I don't think it goes far enough that I've spoke on here further. Earlier, I should say, I believe it should really been a full department with the Deputy Minister, based on the history that's from the black community and what's happened to the black community ever since they came to Canada and helped make Canada what it is today. And it's unfortunate that at this time the Minister was unable to make it a full department, and the time comes probably we may make some amendments to that and see if we can make it a full department with the proper resources to indeed ensure that the black community has every opportunity to overcome the difficulties they've had in the past. There's been a lot of progress made in that area, but there's not enough, and there won't be enough until everybody is treated equal in this province and everybody has the same opportunities. I think we're a long ways away from that yet. The actual setting up of this office is a recognition of there is a difference, and I truly appreciate that happening. But again, I believe it should be a full department with proper funding and a much broader scope of activities that it should perform. There's all kinds of issues in education, employment, assistance with developing business opportunities for people in the black community, and we've got a great group of people in the black community capable of many, many things, and sometimes these things aren't made available to them because of their color or because of the lack of education or whatever the case may be. I think those things, and I know those things have to be changed. They have to be changed in the very near future. And I look forward to any proactive steps the Minister will take in this regard to ensure that the community has every opportunity to reach their potential and work forward to making this province and this country a much better place to live. And with that, I'll support the bill and take my place. Thank you.
Recognize the Honourable Minister of Service, Nova Scotia, Municipal Relations. Closed debate on Bill number 101. The Honourable Minister.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. I want to thank the members opposite for their interventions on Bill 101. I will say in the outset that Bill 101 is an administrative bill that enables government to establish this office. In developing this bill and developing the office, there's been a great deal of work on behalf of myself and staff at the Office of African Nova Scotian Affairs. We met with over 175 groups and individuals. to see what it is that they felt that this office could do for them and how it would work for Nova Scotians. One of the things that we heard over and over and over again as we participated in this consultation was that they didn't want to see duplication. It wasn't necessary for government to set up another office or another initiative that would just do the same work that some other group or organization is already doing. One of the things that we have structured in our business planning process is that won't happen. We will not duplicate something that some other entity is doing. What we will do, though, is we will advocate on behalf of those communities and those individuals and groups, and we will ensure that the voice of African Nova Scotians is heard not only at the cabinet table but throughout government. And this office, this bill will enable us to do that. And that's why I'm so encouraged that moving this piece of legislation forward is a huge step forward, not only for me as the minister, but for the office and for all Nova Scotians. So I'm pleased to move closure of third reading of Bill number 101.
Motion is for third reading of Bill number 101. Is the House ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Counterminded, nay. Motion is carried.
Bill 101, entitled An Act to Amend Chapter 376 of the Revised Statutes 1989, the Public Service Act, to establish the Office of African Nova Scotian Affairs.
Or the bill do pass, or the title be as read by the clerk, or the bill be engrossed. The Honourable Deputy Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. At this time, I call Bill number 102, Maintenance Enforcement Act.
Bill number 102, the Honourable Minister of Tourism, Culture and Heritage.
Thank you very much, Mr. Speaker, and on behalf of my colleague, Minister of Justice and Attorney General, it's my pleasure to move third reading of Bill number 102, the Maintenance Enforcement Act.
Motion is for third reading of Bill number 102. Is the House ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Counterminded, nay. Motion is carried.
Bill 102, entitled An Act to Amend Chapter 6 of the Acts of 1994-95, the Maintenance Enforcement Act.
Or the bill do pass, or the title be as read by the clerk, or the bill be engrossed. The Honourable Deputy Government House Leader.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Call Bill 107, Prescription Monitoring Act.
Number 107, the Honourable Minister of Tourism, Culture and Heritage.
Very much, Mr. Speaker. On behalf of my colleague, the Minister of Health, please move third reading of Bill 107, the Prescription Monitoring Act.
Motion is for third reading of Bill number 107. Is the House ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Counterminded, nay. Motion is carried.
Bill 107, entitled An Act to Monitor the Prescribing of Certain Drugs.
Or the bill do pass, or the title be as read by the clerk, or the bill be engrossed. The Honourable Deputy Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Bill number 115, Maritime Provinces Higher Education Commission Act.
Bill number 115, sorry. The Honourable Minister of Tourism, Culture and Heritage.
Multiple personalities today, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, I'm pleased on behalf of my colleague, the Minister of Education, to move third reading of Bill number 115, Maritime Provinces Higher Education Commission Act.
Question. House ready for the question? All those in favor say aye. Counterminded, nay. Motion is carried.
15, entitled An Act Respecting the Maritime Provinces Higher Education Commission.
Or the bill do pass, or the title be as read by the clerk, or the bill be engrossed. The Honourable Deputy Government House Leader.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Speaker. Mr. Speaker, at this time, I move that the House does recess until the hour 4 p.m.
Agreed? Agreed. House to be recessed till 4 p.m.